glad that we're here.
I'm glad to be here.
Chris, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Today I'm pretty fantastic. It's been a unique day, but you never know in a bike shop what's going to happen, and you get fun people all the time with unique and challenging repairs or requests or whatever. So today I was just thrown in all directions. It was unique and fun.
You just don't know.
Never the same day at the Sunset Bicycle Store. So.
I get that. I feel the same way. Every time I wake up, it's a new day. It could go off the rails or it's going to line up perfectly, but you never know.
All right, we're going to go into this because we kind of chatted a little bit earlier, and I'm ready to dive into it.
All right, go for it. Go for it.
You wake up at what time every day?
3:45.
3:45
in the morning.
In the morning. So, why?
Well, I'm running a gym, and my first class is at 5 a.m. So
that makes sense.
Which means that I've got to be here at 4:40.
Are you a morning person?
I am a morning person. Yes.
Yeah. Are you a coffee drinker?
Yes, I drink about half a cup of coffee before I get out the door. Though there's just not enough time.
Oh, okay. So you're not like drinking a tank full.
No, I just try to get as much coffee down before I have to run out the door.
All right, we'll get more into that because you are the owner of CrossFit Empire South.
Yep.
So, which we're neighbors.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm having you over, because I believe in being a good neighbor.
Well, hello, neighbor.
Hello, neighbor. But y'all were in there a few years ago, and then you jumped across the street, right?
Yeah.
Was that y'all or was that?
Okay, so there's some story there. So it started out as Jones Valley CrossFit. And then CrossFit Empire South purchased Jones Valley CrossFit. So Jones Valley CrossFit was in that space. And then when we bought them, we moved down the street where the shop is now.
Okay.
Yep. And then we moved back because we're expanding, and so we're expanding the whole building, and so we moved back into the original space.
That's exciting. You excited for that?
I am, and now that the renovations are kind of fully underway and demolition is done, it's really exciting.
What so as far as because I've been in there, I see it, I drive by it every day, and in fact I woke up at the ass crack of dawn, and
so you get up early too.
No, I did this purposely to do a session. So,
yes, you did.
That was my very first I did a CrossFit session with Brian. My very first one of CrossFit ever.
Should I ask how did you feel about it?
It's interesting. I like to do workouts, but I'm not a corporate workout kind of person.
Okay. So corporate being like a group fitness class.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm the kind of person who almost wants to like be zen about like lifting weights.
Okay.
And be chill, quiet, calm.
You want to lift weights quietly?
Yeah. At one point they cranked up some music, and it was like 5:30 in the morning, and they were cranking up music, and it was like, rock and roll.
Yeah. Did it get you moving?
No, I was like, man, I don't want this. It's too loud. But that's me, right? I've got a different like.
Well, I'm honestly the 5 a.m. crew.
Yeah.
That's a dedicated group of CrossFitters right there, because they're waking up at 4:30 in the morning to get there by 5.
Oh man, I signed up for it, and like I know how long it takes to get there, and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna be late, and I'm like, I don't want to be late, and. You've got to like, my stress level went up because I didn't want to be late. And, but you've got to really like prepare the night before. And I know this with the type of exercise and riding that I do. I'm usually like, if I'm going on a 6 a.m. ride, I wake up and I have all my gear ready the night before. So I'm just ready to go out the door, calm, cool, and collected. So that's, me trying to hit that Zen state of I'm about to work really hard. I don't want to have a lot of anxiety going to a workout, right? So when I was coming the other day at 5 a.m., I was just like, I don't want to be late. I don't know what's going on.
It's good.
I hope I have all the things. And I was a little tense, but I can understand like if somebody makes it their thing. Like they probably get into that routine and they're showing up and it's just like clockwork.
The routine is great. And the thing about that 5 a.m. crowd is that they are Monday through Friday. They're there. I mean, most of those guys and gals come into that class every single day of the week. And it's impressive to watch.
Now, do you start teaching at 5?
Sometimes. I rotate out. So you had Coach Brian when you came. And so I do a couple of the classes throughout the week. When I started that 5 a.m. class, it was just me. And so I was getting every 5 a.m. class. And it is, you have to understand, working out in the class, you show up and we're going to lead you through a warm up. We're going to do the workout. You said you kind of prepared, you had to get mentally prepared.
Oh yeah.
But when you're coaching the class, there's a lot of preparation. Everything is kind of following a lesson plan. You're getting ready for how you want to run the class, how you want to get folks moving. You want to make sure everybody's warming up properly because you're not just going to jump into that workout that we did that day.
Yeah, and that's one thing I appreciate. He went over like, hey, this is what we're going to do. And so I'm like, all right, we're about to do it. And he was like, all right, do this. And I'm like, well, wait, we're not doing what you just said we're going to be doing. He's like, oh yeah, you're warming up first.
Right.
And so I was like, oh yeah, I appreciate that because before I really get into any kind of workout, I've got these old hips.
Yeah.
They're not lying to me these days. They need to be stretched out.
Oh yeah, me too. Yep. The older you get, the more you need, right? Like you'll notice it's the young guys that are kind of they won't do all the reps of the warm up. That they'll kind of maneuver to the side of the gym, and then it's the folks that we're complaining about our hips. That man, my sciatic, my goodness. I mean, we're those folks. They do the warm up.
We did I think it was a scorpion stretch.
Love the scorpion stretch.
And I was just like, this hurts and feels good all at the same time. It was great.
Yeah. Well, the Spider-Man stretch is what I'm known for.
Oh, really?
I put the Spider-Man stretch in every one of my classes, and they're like, oh, here we go, the Spider-Man stretch.
I have no idea what that is.
I'll have to show you next time you come and do it.
Okay. That's. So with CrossFit, how did you get started in that? Because all I know about CrossFit is probably all the bad stuff because it gets into the social platforms and stuff, and there's always the jokes. I think
there's bad stuff about CrossFit. What do you mean?
Well, like the jokes and stuff that is
I got you.
Like the big one or the easy joke is, how do you know this person's into CrossFit? Oh, they'll tell you.
They'll tell you, yeah.
But from Instagram and all the social media, you'll see videos of CrossFitters, and sometimes like whatever they're doing, somebody will like, oh, their form is terrible. Oh, they're going to get injured. My experience the other day, it was just like the focus on technique and form and not trying to do more than what you should was really heavily what's the word I'm looking for?
Emphasized.
Yeah, emphasized. And but I mean, CrossFit it's so many things, it seems like, because then there's like the CrossFit Games, right? And I don't know too much about CrossFit at all, but watching like the CrossFit Games, there's so many different movements and techniques and challenges that they have to do, and so how do you guys relate to something like CrossFit Games versus what you do at your gym? Because
that's a really
sometimes people just like, oh, CrossFit, but my experience that morning was just like, man, that was a good workout. If I keep waking up at 5 a.m. and doing that class, I'm gonna get strong and fit and in shape,
right? Hopefully, yeah.
And it seemed like if I wanted to say bulk up, there's a way and a path to do that. If I wanted to get more tone, you could do certain workouts with everybody, but choose different types of weights, and you're gonna like focus more on toning or something,
right?
Like that. So
wow, you you set all that up, and I'm now thinking, where do I begin? So let me answer.
It's a hard question, right? Because CrossFit.
Well, let's answer the first one. So a typical CrossFit affiliate, a typical CrossFit gym, we're going to be focused on exercise. That's what we're doing.
Okay.
It's going to be a combination of weightlifting, gymnastic skills, cardio work, all of those things. All of those things are fitness. That's what we're going after. When you mention the CrossFit Games, and what I think a lot of people will have an impression of, they'll look at the CrossFit Games. Oh, they're showing the CrossFit Games on ESPN, and they're now watching it, and they're thinking, wow, that's what they do. And so think of the CrossFit Games as the sport of fitness. It's like a Spartan race. It's on a different level, but
right.
It's a high rocks event. It's an event.
Yeah.
And so we are doing fitness at any given CrossFit gym, and anybody can do it. Anybody's capable of doing it. Anybody can do it. You walked in on Monday and boom, you did it. And it wasn't something that was insurmountable. It was something that was, here's the way we're going to work with each individual athlete. If you're at this level, let's do this. And if you're having a shoulder issue today, hey guys, let's switch it to this. And, the coach is in there modifying that workout of the day to wherever you need it to be.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like doing personal training, but we're doing it in a group setting. Yeah. So we're able to kind of cater the workout to anybody that walks through the door. The CrossFit Games is a sport. That's a fitness test. It's a fitness event.
Yeah.
And they're doing, when you're looking at the actual CrossFit Games, that's a marginal fraction of the top 1% of athletes that have been training, rigorously training. Stuff that, most of us, would not want to be doing that level of training. That takes hours out of a day for a lot of folks. It takes very regimented food and nutrition and all of those things to get to perform at that level.
So are you saying I'm not there yet?
You're not there yet. Neither am I. So, but you have to understand that is a event, and so that's the sport of fitness. That is not a typical CrossFit gym environment. That's not what we're doing.
What do you think the true spirit of CrossFit needs to be shared? I mean, what do you think that theme is?
I think it's health and fitness focused on every human being, and it's available for everybody to be able to do. Now, that doesn't mean it might not be the right fit for you, meaning you might have a different, you said you like a more quiet, Zen-like experience when you're lifting weights.
I think it's also the time of day.
At 5 a.m. you're
5
zoned
a.m.
out.
I don't want to talk to people.
That's not Zen. That's you're half asleep.
Oh, okay.
that's a little different.
That's awesome.
So I think, from my perspective, we're trying to bring health and fitness to as many people as we can.
Okay.
That's what my heart is. I think I look around and I see, man, I can be going on a tangent here. But
how did you, before you go that way, how did you get started in CrossFit and owning a gym? And
wow, that's also a long story. But
okay.
But I can go down that rabbit hole. So it was actually my wife and daughter. My daughter started CrossFit first. So she actually started watching things like the CrossFit Games on TV. And she kept coming up to my wife and I saying, I'd like to try this out. I want to do this. And she was a swimmer.
Okay.
She swam for HSA, Huntsville Swim Association. And she was doing a lot of that throughout her younger years and then on into high school. And but she wanted to try out CrossFit. So, and of course I was a bit of a naysayer, so I heard all the negative stuff too.
Now, what age was she?
She would have been 14, 15 at the time.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so maybe 16. Yeah, maybe 16. And my thought was, no, people get injured in CrossFit.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not having our kid do that. That's crazy. Have you seen what they do? I just watched what she showed me on TV. There's no way she's doing that. I mean, that's the impression, right? Same impression you had. My wife and I talked about it. We said, well, there's a gym down the street. It was CrossFit Empire South down the street.
Okay.
I wasn't the first owner. And my wife took her down there. And my wife has had multiple knee surgeries. She had just had surgery done on one of her knees. Lots of running injuries over the years, lots of triathlon injuries.
Okay.
And so she's had multiple surgeries. No,
Gotcha.
There's nothing left underneath that kneecap. And so she took my daughter in, and the coach that was there, Coach Katie, she said, oh yeah, Deanna's welcome to try, let her come in there. And so Deanna started working out there, and she was doing great. She was enjoying it. And we thought, man, she's active. This is good. A kid that's going to remain active. And my wife was picking her up one day, and Coach Katie basically said, you can do this too. She's like, are you crazy? I just had, knee surgery. I'm still on the mend. I'm 80 pounds overweight. I mean, she was feeling like there's no way I need to get fit before I do anything like this. And Katie is just a wonderful human being. Also my first coach there at the gym. And she said, yes, you can do this. And she invited her in. She did the workout, and it was modified. Obviously, it was modified around her knee injuries. And over the course of the next 6 months, I watched my wife and my daughter transform, and I was a never do CrossFit Chris. That's what that's what which is funny, right?
Yeah.
So I was adamant. I went to the Y. I was doing my circuit machines, going around the room fighting for whatever. And I was watching my wife and daughter transform. My wife was losing weight. She was slimming down. She was getting stronger. And I'm like, how are you doing that with 2 bad knees? And I'm like, something's different here.
Yeah. So interrupt. What transformation did you see in like her personality and confidence?
Oh yeah, all of those things. Yeah, I mean, she was like a different person in a positive way. Like her self-esteem was starting to grow. Her energy level was growing. I mean, she was happier. And she was seeing, pounds coming off and thinking, and who doesn't want to see the pounds come off and then start going, wow, that's amazing. I want that. And so after about 6 months, I finally said, all right, I'll do it. I'll give it a try. I'm fine. I'll just, break my leg or whatever, do whatever.
The cult of CrossFit.
The cult of CrossFit. I'm going to give it a try. And I went in, and I had met Katie a couple of times at some functions and things. And I just gave it a try. And I remember I did the first workout on a Monday, and I woke up on Tuesday morning, and I was so sore.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, were you sore after Monday at all?
Yeah, there's a lift that I did, and it focused in on some back muscles. And those back muscles, I was like, ooh, I feel that.
Yep.
So,
it's pretty dynamic movement. So it hits you, and where in areas that you aren't using, you're going to probably use them doing a CrossFit workout. And so I woke up and I thought, man, I'm really sore. I haven't been this sore at the gym. I can't remember when. And I thought, all right, I'm going to go back. And so I went back that Tuesday. I was sore. I went back Tuesday. Then I went on Wednesday, and then Thursday. And I was like, okay, I'm feeling really good.
What day were you just like really hooked? Was it in the first week?
It was within that first week. I knew, okay, I can keep this up. And what got me was the workouts change every day.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't have to think about it.
Yeah, somebody planned it for you.
Right. And so unlike now I'm the one that has to think about the workouts. So it's a little different, right? But the workouts were changing every day. And I didn't have to know how to do anything. And man, did I fell in love with different kind of movements that I never had been exposed to before. Olympic lifting, just moving with a barbell. I never felt comfortable in a gym that had barbells. Yeah, that I knew on what I was doing to be able to go over and start.
Those things are intimidating.
They're very intimidating.
I sometimes will. Well, I've worked out with my daughter at some Planet Fitness
Mhm.
and other places. And sometimes it's just like, I'm just going to stick to this little circuit area. It shows me what to do.
Yeah.
You walk over to the, the dumbbells and you're like, okay, I know I can do like a bicep curl. What else?
Right.
And then you like start Googling it, and then you spend 20 minutes trying to figure out, the best workout,
Right.
pose, position, and am I doing this right? So
I have to
that
undo.
intimidation
I have to undo so much damage done by people training themselves
Yeah.
with YouTube videos, and
Yeah.
so the bad habits that form are tremendous.
Now, what were you doing before CrossFit?
I was a runner.
Well, I know like work-wise.
Work-wise, architect.
Okay.
Yes. So, and you'll probably see that in a little while. That picture that you'll probably pull up.
Okay.
But yeah, my career is in architecture.
Okay.
I say is. I still keep up my license.
Now, are you involved in planning the renovation over here?
Only just reviewing it as a tenant.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Is it kind of fun to look at the plans and go, oh?
I look at them with a different maybe perspective on them. But architecture was my career for 21 years. I was a partner here in a firm here in Huntsville, one of the bigger firms. I loved it. Yeah, it was great. But when I got into and I was still an architect several years into being over at the gym. So.
Gotcha.
And then, and maybe I'll share that in just a minute. But I will say, I the exact moment that I fell in love with it happened pretty quick.
Yeah.
I realized this was a different ball game.
Now, did you grow up playing sports or anything?
I was a track runner. I love track. Definitely a skinny physique. That kind of track runner.
What events were you in track?
I was definitely distance.
Okay.
800, 1 mile. We would do 2 miles in some of the events, and some of the relay, long distance relays.
Yeah. Were you good, average, in between?
I would say I certainly was not. There were some really fast runners. My fastest mile was 4:52, I think, something like that.
That's still awesome.
But they're faster runners. I mean, they're just incredibly fast.
They just got
runners.
shoes.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I'm getting up there in age, and I think you and I are similar. In
I'm
age,
48.
Right? 40, yeah. I'll turn 49 here in a few weeks.
Okay. Our beards are similarly gray. Yeah.
Yeah. I got a lot of stress with my gray beards. But like shoes are so amazing now.
Oh yeah.
Like I've seen some shoes that people put on, and I'm like, that thing is making you like launch 4 feet.
Yeah, they've got batteries in them now. And
do they?
No, I'm just kidding. Really? They run for you. You don't even have to. You just put them on and they go.
I've seen some shoes, and I'm like, you've got like some kind of trampoline bouncy thing in there because you're really just launching yourself and you're making it glide. So like they're cheating.
Yeah.
I think.
No, I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
Usually, but I will say shoes are important to CrossFit as well.
Oh, you have to have special shoes?
Oh, one, CrossFitters love their shoes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I didn't know this.
There's like hundreds of pairs of shoes. It's almost a requirement. You just have to. They just love shoes, so they all buy them.
Okay.
But and I'm being kind of facetious here, but
Okay.
but you'll the joke is CrossFitters have a lot of shoes, but you're having a more flat shoe for most of the things that we're going to be doing. Is better. Now we do some longer distance running, but for us, running is going to be a 200 meter, 400 meter, 800 meter.
You're probably needing a flatter shoe because of probably the squat.
Right. The squatting, you really want to get a flatter position because you want your heels to stay down. Whereas a runner, it's angled in the front, and so it's kind of helping you kind of lean forward and get there. So those kind of go counter to each other. And so I definitely you do have to pay attention to your shoes.
Now, when you get maybe a new client or somebody, are you trying to somewhat organize a routine, or is it the WOD, workout of the day? Do you modify maybe the workout of the day for an individual who is a particular type of athlete?
Yes, absolutely. So whenever I meet a new athlete coming into the gym, I'm usually going to or make every effort to try and get to know them just a little bit. What's their history? Are they coming in with no physical background of any kind? Or yes, I've been a runner for the last 10 years, and what's their goals? Because it helps me to understand. I'm trying to lose 10 pounds. I'm trying to lose whatever. I want to gain some strength. I've had some marathon runners come in, and they're like, I hear this is going to be good for my running, and I went, yeah, absolutely, it will. Training using CrossFit as a regimen for training is going to make you a faster, more energized runner.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna figure out what they need, and I'm gonna help kind of guide that process for them. So if I see somebody that's never lifted weights at all, because they've just been focused on running, going for long distances, then I'm gonna try and build some strength to go along with that. And the workouts that we do, they're usually not used to short metcons, metabolic conditioning workouts. And so that their capacity for aerobics
it's off the charts.
Goes on forever, right? They can run all day long and they don't even slow down. But when it comes to that workout, I can drop somebody onto the floor with a 2-minute workout and they will feel like they got hit by a bus. So those kind of conditioning workouts, they're no capacity for. So we're going to train in those domains that they're missing, that they've got gaps. So it's great.
Hey Mia, go to the pictures, and here is a group of where is this location right here? Because this isn't the one next door, is it?
No, this is CrossFit Athens. And my business partner, she's also a partner with several other CrossFit gyms. And CrossFit Athens, I'll read them out real quick. CrossFit Athens, CrossFit Madison, CrossFit Hazel Green, CrossFit Shades, they're out in Birmingham. Rocket City CrossFit, which is kind of north side of town. And then CrossFit Empire South. So she's co-partners with me here at the gym. Our family of gyms, we get together and kind of have our own version of the CrossFit Games, I guess. And so that's fun. We call it Battle of the Boxes. And our next one's actually coming up third week in June. So it's our next one. And we do them pretty regularly, a couple times a year.
Who's reigning champion?
Current champion, because it passes around. CrossFit Hazel Green.
Wow.
And before CrossFit Hazel Green, it was CrossFit Empire South.
So a little rivalry.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't call that. It is. It's a rivalry.
Fun.
We call it Battle of the Boxes, and it's more for bragging rights. Hey, who's got the best gym? Though I wouldn't really call it that. I mean, all our gyms are very similar as far as how much we care about the community, and we actually get together every week and discuss, stuff that's going on at the gym. Can I help you with that? And that's great. It's a resource that most gym owners are not going to have. And so to be able to communicate with each other and support each other in a larger community is fantastic. The big part of our get-togethers is getting the larger community together in our surrounding area. To have all the athletes come together and work out, enjoy the fitness and what it's all about. So we have a great time. It's a fun day. There's usually 3 to 4 workouts that are going on. I've competed in it. I've judged it. It's a lot of fun. People are cheering each other on, trying to get the win, and it's pretty great. It's a great experience.
Do you ever find any of the workouts to be like, is there any workouts that get real popular at some point and then fade away?
Oh, everybody is going to have, so the workouts change every day. But there are workouts that are benchmark workouts. I'm going to digress just a little bit, but I'll come back around. The great thing about CrossFit is we are going to, we want to see results. And so there are benchmark workouts that are almost like tests. Here we're going to do a benchmark today. It's today we did one. It's just 1,000-meter row for time. This is your maximum effort. How fast can you get this done? And then 6 months from now, we may do 1,000-meter row for time. Did you get any better? And so we had a ton of people today. It's like I shaved 17 minutes off, or 17 seconds off of the time. Okay. I shaved 6 seconds off the time, and that's what we want to see. Right. I want to see it. Is our fitness programming working? So from an owner standpoint, I want to see results as well. Globally across the gym, I need to see that this is effectively working. So there are other workouts that over time have gotten reputations or names. One would be Fran. That's a workout that comes up on a regular basis. Fran is...
you CrossFitters, you guys have so many dang acronyms.
Well, Fran is just a girl's name.
Oh, okay.
Like my Aunt Fran. Aunt Fran is not somebody that you want to come over to your house, because Fran makes you feel really gross.
I thought it was the acronym for like...
No acronyms. No, okay. Not on this one. So Fran is a workout. 21. It's very classic. Most CrossFitters have done Fran, no Fran. They know that experience. So it's 21, 15, 9 thrusters and pull-ups. So
now, have you ever had a client named Fran get offended by the workout?
I was. We had a workout called Kelly not too long ago. I think it was last month, and I've got a great member. Her name's Kelly, and I think as I was briefing the workout, I made the joke. This workout was named after Kelly, right over here, and
under the bus.
And she's a seasoned athlete, and she's like, these are not the movements that I would have put in a workout. She's looking around, everybody's got their favorite things that they're good at, and they want to keep doing them, but still. The named workouts, the reason they get named this is a little fact for you. So Greg Glassman, who kind of put together CrossFit, he's the founder of CrossFit. He started naming the workouts that made you feel like you got hit by a storm after girls' names. Kind of like they would name a hurricane or something like that. And
he named them specifically after...
Just various girls' names. They don't. Some of them have actual. They're named after somebody. Others are. Fran is just Fran.
Is there any like sexist issues with that?
Well, there's a lot of guys named workouts too. So no, I would say no. But
it's balanced out now.
Yeah. Okay. But if you felt like you got hit by a storm, and Fran gets done by some people, the fastest time I think is minute 28. Maybe minute 29. I could be getting that right, but it's around that minute 30 time frame. And people do that very, very quickly, and you are on the floor and you feel sick.
Yeah, and how's their form when they do it?
Hopefully, one thing that we're going to monitor is their form should be fantastic. It should be good full range of motion. On a thruster, I want to see hips get below the knees. I want to see full extension at the top, your arms locked out. Barbells overhead, not in front of you, those kinds of things. So yes, now can somebody be doing, Fran with poor form? Absolutely. And hopefully the coach on duty is correcting that and saying, hey, let's pull that barbell back a little bit. Let's get it. Let's get you in the right
I think
position.
Going back to what I've seen in all the, especially now social media, is the incorrect forms that somebody's like either joking about or making light of or whatever. And it's just like, how is that really? I've seen some, it's like, they're not even doing the workout right.
Right.
And
I saw one the other day.
And then for me, that's how you get injured.
Right.
And I'm too old to get injured. So when I was doing the workout, 5 a.m, I was just like, I have no shame. I will use the lighter weights.
Good for you.
I will go slow and be like, I maybe didn't do all the reps, but I did them safely, and I can walk tomorrow.
That's right. So. Well, you had the right attitude. That's the right mindset. For me, and what I've communicated to all of my coaches, safety is the number one thing. I want everybody moving safely, and it's your duty as a coach to try and get in front of. I mean, you know, you don't have eyes in the back of your head, but you're constantly scanning the room for safety.
Yeah,
that's your number one. All right, is Brandon moving well? Is he arching his back funny? Are his knees caving in? Then that's going to be my first thing. Brandon, push your knees out a little bit. There you go. That's great.
Yeah,
awesome.
Brian, the coach, that morning, he was checking in on me and spotting me and making sure, move your hands here, move your hands there, do it this way, looking good. And I was just like, all right, yeah. He corrected my form, and I expected him to, because a lot of the exercises I hadn't done before, and so he was just like, do it this way. Yeah, that looks good.
Where you have to be real careful is some of the more seasoned athletes. You know, just because they've been doing it for 10 years doesn't necessarily mean that they aren't going to have a moment under fatigue or duress as the workout's going on. You're getting uncomfortable. You know, you're starting to move that weight faster than you should. You should be slowing down, but you're trying to get the best time you got. That's where a coach needs to be very diligent of going, all right, man, hey, and you got to be quick, right? Because people are moving fast. They're trying to get through the workout. Hey, slow it down just a little bit. You're losing your back right here. There you go. Let's straighten that out.
That transfers over to, especially like mountain biking. There's a lot of people when they mountain bike, especially nowadays, there's a lot of places where you can go and do shuttle runs. So you get driven to the top and you ride down.
Oh yeah.
And then they shuttle you back up to the top.
You know what? I didn't know that's what that was called. A shuttle run for me, you're running back and forth from one cone to another. And I'm like, shuttle run on a mountain bike?
Yeah. So, but the thing with that is, after, depending on the trail and say 5 runs, you start to fatigue and get tired, right? You're having a blast. And someone always goes, I'll do one more shuttle run, or I'll do one more run. And that's the run that they crash on, because they're fatigued and tired, and they're trying to like get that last little, I want to take that turn a little bit quicker, a little bit better, and they don't realize they're fatigued, and so that's when they have their worst run and maybe an accident because they're fatigued and tired.
Right.
So that's a good point to think about, is as you exercise and get fatigued and tired, that's when you need to really slow down and focus on form and execution.
Wow, you made me think of something. So we were talking a few minutes.
That rarely happens with me. So
no, that's not true. So you're talking about somebody, a mountain biking situation where somebody gets under fatigue and you have this risk of injury. We mentioned a little while ago. I brought it up. I think I said, my daughter's not going to do CrossFit. It's not safe. No way. CrossFit has had a terrible reputation for safety.
Yeah.
And one, I don't think that's deserved at all. And so I'm going to take this moment right now.
You have the podcast floor.
So it's interesting, and I don't know how it started. I don't know why it kind of fell on CrossFit's shoulders to be the pincushion when it comes to CrossFit's dangerous. We've certainly had injuries. I've had injuries in my own gym when an athlete is just pushing real hard, or if they do round their back in a situation or something happens. But I had this great experience. Actually, it was with Brian. We were chatting about. He goes to the chiropractor on a regular basis, and the chiropractor made the joke. I think he just said, "Hey, can you work on this? Whatever, my shoulder's feeling a little achy or whatever." And he said, "Man, you CrossFitters, you keep me in business." You hear that, right?
Yeah.
And Brian did a great job. He looked at him and he said, "Do you have a lot of running injuries?" And he goes, "Yeah." And he said, "Okay, I was just curious." And then he looks back at him and he said, "How many running injuries do you have compared to your CrossFit injuries that you deal with at the chiropractor?" And the chiropractor kind of looked and thought for a second, and he went, "That's about the same, if not more." He said, and running is perfectly safe, right? Everybody runs. And so Brian had looked at him. He said, "So do you think maybe it's just, a training issue? I mean, do a lot of runners not even get training when they're running, or do they just pick up Couch to 5K or Couch to Marathon, and they just an app is telling them what to do? They don't know if their form's right." and then they have knee injuries and all that. And so is it really CrossFit that's not safe, or is it just, not getting, not doing something that you probably shouldn't be doing, or doing something incorrectly? At least CrossFit has a coach there that's trying to help you and get you your form right and have those things. So I thought, kudos, Brian, you did a great job. That's a very common assessment. I hear that a lot. CrossFit's unsafe. And I said it myself, right?
Yeah.
So
well, and I think that statement can be really applied to almost any activity. Or
think about football. How many times do we put our young teenagers into football, and then they get concussions or whatever? Yeah. Or you were just talking about it, mountain biking, or any sport really. If you're doing anything to try and really make adaptive changes to your body, from a fitness standpoint, you're trying to get healthier, whatever. If you're putting the work in, there is a risk. I mean, there's always a risk. That's why we have waivers at all these gyms. That's why we do those things. But it's I think an unfair statement to say that one fitness regimen gets to bear the brunt of all the injuries, right?
Yeah.
So from my standpoint, we have a very low injury rate, and I'm not going to say that they haven't happened, but it's usually an ego thing. I'm going to lift a really heavy weight today, and it's usually my young guys more than anything.
What's your kind of stance, policy, or what attention do you give to one of your clients who comes in and they're injured? How do you navigate? Hey, I know you still want to work out. Let's modify this so you can do maybe this kind of stuff and avoid using your right arm.
No, that's easy, and it happens regularly. I had an athlete recently had, I think back in maybe it was December or November, had some rotator cuff stuff going on, had some surgery done. We took it very slow, and he didn't have an ego that if you're in pain, you're not gonna keep trying to push yourself into a painful situation, or at least I would hope not, unless you're just really into pain. But he took it very, very slow, and kind of recouped, worked the mobility, because that's the big limiter, right? You start getting some mobility issues, scar tissue, and all those things. But we just modified the workouts around it. We can modify a workout around any injury. There's athletes that can't walk, and they're still getting great workouts in. That
made me just talking about injuries and things like that made me think about one thing that happens with cyclists. And I'm huge into like telling somebody to like stop riding, especially when they have an accident and they hit their head.
Yeah.
And if you crack your helmet, you're undoubtedly hitting so hard that you probably or most likely got a concussion, and you should get a scan done or whatever. But I'm like, if that happens, I'm like, man, don't ride for good 2 weeks at least.
Sure.
And I've come across a few cyclists who just want to like, oh, I'm gonna get back on the horse. I'm like, you hit your head pretty hard.
Yeah.
Stop. Like, that's what controls everything. It's okay to like recover. And I don't think, especially with injuries and or just hard workouts, I don't know if there's enough focus in on recovery in the proper goodness. Like, so what do you do in terms of 5 a.m. workouts, 6 a.m. workouts, pushing it hard, but then you got to go to work the rest of the day. So how is somebody like doing a good recovery from a hard it kind of workout, CrossFit workout?
That's a really good question. So it's different for different people. And for different times of working out. The afternoon folks go home, usually after their workout, they're eating dinner, going to bed, whatever. And so you get that sleep recovery right off the bat. 5 a.m., 6 a.m. And I'm a morning workout person too, by the way. So I'm not in the afternoon workouts for me. Good for them. I'm tired by the end of the day, and we've already covered the fact that I wake up at 3:45 in the morning.
Oh man,
so
my favorite time of like if I had my druthers, my favorite like time to just go work out is usually around 10 to 11.
Okay.
Like I'm finally awake, finally alert.
We've got a 9:15 and an 11:45, so just come on by whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Well, but I never had trouble working out early in the morning and then going to work. That usually was not my issue. I move around a lot when in the field of architecture. Believe it or not,
Did you get one of those standing desks?
I didn't. There were several people that had them, but I didn't have a standing desk. But I moved around a lot because I was working with teams. I managed a lot of teams. And then I visited a lot of job sites. So I was moving a lot.
Okay.
There would be days where, my nose is, sketching out stuff, trying to figure the puzzle of design work out. But, and there's a lot of computer work and those kinds of things, but I moved a lot. So, I never felt like my body didn't get that recovery. And when I was very sore, once I kind of got into the routine and the hype of that first week, kind of settled down and you start kind of working a routine. Taking that day off, you need a rest day, take a day off, it's fine. But the really cool thing is normally we're not hitting the same muscle groups over and over again, day after day after day. So if we're doing front squats today, we're working some upper body work. It's not leg day. It's not arm day. We're not doing pecs. That's not the regimen. We do, like I said, very full body motion, but the workout might have a focus that's going to light your legs up. Your hamstrings are going to hurt tomorrow. We're probably not doing squats and deadlifts the next day.
Gotcha.
We're probably doing something else. So you'll find that you're constantly in a little bit of soreness from the workouts, but it's different every day.
I love that feeling of
I do too.
Have your muscles a little like achy, a little sore, and you're like, man, I did a workout. That feels.
It makes you feel like you did something, right? It's the receipt to the bill that you just paid. So
So when I got into like cycling and stuff, I really got into triathlons, and that I was always a pretty decent runner, and swimming was nothing to me. So the bike portion was always like the new thing I had to learn, right? But man, after the first or second try that I did, and I don't even remember the distance, but the feeling that I remember, like my whole body was just like pooped. It was tired.
Yeah.
It was just like, but it was just like, how I did something. Like my whole body's on fire. It wasn't just like my lungs hurt. It was like, man, my legs hurt. My upper back and shoulders are tired from the swim. And, of course that probably had a lot to do with like not training properly and stuff like that. But I was addicted to that feeling of I worked hard.
Do you still do triathlons?
Yeah, I jump in. So I try to maintain a fitness level where last minute I'm just going to sign up and
do it
and go and do it.
That's great. Yeah. So you're constantly in a state that you're feeling like I could handle this.
Yeah.
This
I don't recommend people subscribe to the Brandon Welch way of training and stuff, but my strongest event and all that is always the bike.
Okay.
And so I'll do pretty decent on a swim, and and then I'll jump on the bike and hammer it out, and then the run I'll struggle.
Oh wow! So what you're saying is we need to do one of those partner tries. So I'll take the run.
Yeah, if you're hitting those 5-minute miles,
but
all day.
My first experience, I did a sprint triathlon, and don't let the last name of Waters fool you. I hopped into the water and I just assumed it was 400 meters, right?
Dead weight in the water.
Oh my goodness. My daughter, who is a swimmer, was standing on the side watching me swim, doggy paddle at times. and she stopped and she goes, "Wait, you've reached the you're on the shallow end. Are you aqua jogging?"
That's funny.
And I was like, "Yes, I am. And I'm almost to the finish line here." I don't know what it is that I know swimming is a weakness. That was bad, but luckily got on the bike. I did fine. Not my strong suit, but I did fine. And then sprinted out on that run and caught up to at least some of the folks that were probably dunking my head in the water.
That's oh man.
No, I'm not a triathlete. That's
okay. It's But yeah, the going back to like that feeling, like I really enjoy finding different activities where, especially if it's a full body kind of workout, man, you just feel like I did something. I wonder. Oh, I wish, and I don't know with the state of, I think I read a report like we're no longer the state of Alabama, the fattest state in the United States now. I think that's been given to like Virginia or something like that.
Really?
Yeah. So I was like, woohoo! But we're still like in the top 5.
Of course. Yeah. I was about to say, I don't think that just going up one notch and going from 50 to 49 is really something to celebrate, but we'll take our win.
But I don't know if, there's enough people who are attracted these days to like physically feeling accomplished with something,
I think I look at it a different way because the struggle for motivating athletes, and I hate that word. You can ask me why later, but motivation. I hate the concept of we're, as a coach, we're here just to motivate. Hopefully we will. I mean, hopefully we'll say the right thing and motivate, but it takes dedication and commitment. Will win every single time. Motivation is a fleeting concept. So you'll get that rise. You're super excited. You're starting something new. When it starts to get a little tough, the kind of newness wears off, starts wearing down. Next thing you know, it's the New Year's resolution syndrome, right? You go into the holidays and all of a sudden you're feeling like, man, I'm going to hit the gym. I'm going to get a Planet Fitness membership today. And then you use it for maybe a week. Well, and then it falls off. But what I think happens, though, what you're talking about is that, that physical fatigue. People don't like to get uncomfortable, and that's where when we work out, when you do a hard bike, right, you're getting uncomfortable. It's not like you feel really good. I mean, you might. I mean, if you're mountain biking, I mean, the woods, it's great. But if you're lifting weights, and in that moment your heart rate's pounding, you feel like it's about to explode out of your chest, you're sweating, you feel like you're just everything's exhausting. That's an uncomfortable state to be in, and I think what we have grown accustomed to is not getting uncomfortable, because if you're gonna change, if you're gonna reach that point where you're gonna be sore, you have to be uncomfortable, and that's what's gonna make the changes in your body.
That's you nailed it. And I think that's what I was trying to say is people don't want to struggle sometimes. And who does really? I mean, it's nice when things just happen for you, but I think when you agitate something, when you find a way to go, I don't know if I can do this, and you work at it, and then you're like, okay, I screwed up. I didn't make it. But I want to go try it again.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference in the people who maybe wake up at 5 a.m. and do, a workout session versus somebody who stays on the couch, right? And no offense to, somebody wants to stay on the couch, and that's their life. That's great. But I don't think those type of people eventually do hard stuff.
And I see it. There's folks that are looking for a good motivational speech, but they want easy. They want a mimosa in the morning and a light bike ride and maybe just a little bit of sweat, and I did a great job today. And at least you moved. I mean, that's great. But
taking the picture for the Instagram,
right.
So you don't like the word,
that doesn't get the job done.
So you don't like the word motivation. What would you want to use instead of that for someone?
I am definitely okay.
Because I got a word that I like to use.
Okay. Well, I had a situation, and if these members who are great, they're very committed right now. The wife came to me, and her husband hadn't been coming to the gym. He's a member. He just hadn't been coming. And she goes, he needs some motivation. And I said, okay. And I was like, okay. And he's picking me up in just a little while. Do you think, I really want him to get in here? And I could see it. She's like, I want him in here. He needs to stop making excuses and start getting some work done. And I said, all right, do I have free reign to give my motivational speech? and she said, yeah, say whatever you got to say. And he walked in, and I just started. I was mean. It was a different approach. I was like, you want motivation? You are waiting for the wrong thing. I'm not here to motivate you. I'm here to tell you that if you don't get your butt in here on Monday morning and get the work done and get busy, then you're just going to continue to deteriorate. And your wife is tired of it, and I'm tired of it. Let's start working. And he looked at me and he said, I'll be here on Monday. and I went, was that motivating?
That was the butt kick he needed, right?
But the idea of, you listen to, it's the same thing. I don't want to repeat myself. It's you listen to, if we're waiting for motivation, you're never going to get there. You just won't. There has to be a part of you that says, I'm willing to, I don't like this about me right now.
Yeah.
And I want to change it. And then you've got to make a commitment, whatever that is, make a commitment to get that done. And if you're waiting for a podcast or a musical piece that just pumps you up, that's just emotional. Yeah. And that's a roller coaster that drops off after a while. And so you have to, the workouts are not effective when you're going at it at 100% and you're feeling good. The workouts are effective when you are not really wanting to be there and you're going to give it 50 to 60%. It's in those moments that the workouts actually work, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it's those moments, if you took all of those out, then you've worked out 3 times in a month. But it's all the other workouts that you're there for you're doing 50 to 60% more than the guy that's sitting on the couch not doing anything at all.
Do you ever feel like you sleep through a workout?
No, I don't. Okay. I don't even know what that means.
All right. So sometimes if I've decided, hey, I'm going to ride crack of dawn, right? Yep. I'll get on the bike and I'm like, it's an hour and I finally wake up.
Oh yeah. But you're doing a monostructural movement, right? You're doing a movement that's just repeated over and over and over again. You're biking. And so, yeah, I could definitely see myself do that if I'm riding a bike. It's no different. I ride motorcycles, so if I'm out on my motorcycle, I can find myself just in that Zen moment.
Oh yeah, I think let's talk about motorcycles for a second.
Okay.
Because Mia, will you go to? I think it's like the 5th picture, on there. Yeah. So is this a Fat Boy or is this
that's a Road King?
Road King. Okay.
I have a Fat Boy.
You have a Fat Boy.
I do. I have 2.
You have 2 Fat Boys.
No, I'm sorry. I have
2
a Road King. I have a Fat Boy. Yeah, both.
Gotcha.
I have 2 Harleys. Every guy should have 2 Harleys.
Every guy should have 2.
You know what? That seems sexist. Everybody should have 2.
Why Harleys?
Because why Harleys?
Or is it just 2 motorcycles?
2 motorcycles.
2 motorcycles. Yeah. So what? So the Road King is cruising stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And then you have a Fat Boy.
Yeah.
And the Fat Boy is...
That one's great for kind of shorter distances if you're just puttering around town. But I'm being kind of facetious because I am selling my Fat Boy.
Okay.
But I love that bike so much. I just don't ride it.
Okay. But you're going to get a new one.
No. I've got my Road King. I'm keeping my Road King.
But you said every person should have 2 motorcycles.
I was making a joke.
Oh.
When one's getting worked on, you've got the spare.
In the bike shop, there's, and I need to make a shirt. The formula is N+1.
Okay.
Which is how many bicycles you should own.
Yeah. Yep.
So being the number of bicycles
3, so you should own 4. Yeah.
But it's always, if you have 4, then it's still
it's the next one up. Yeah.
So that's funny. So here's the interesting thing. So because motorcycle, and we're probably going to go on a whole tangent.
Go for it.
About motorcycles, because and going back to motivation, this will tie right into it. Is one word that I like to use versus motivation is inspiration.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And what I try to do with a lot of people is find within them what they're trying to go toward.
Yeah, that's good.
Right. And then once you tap into that, then it's just like, hey, here's how you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And the motivation really is they have to be inspired to do it. They have to say, hey, I want to wake up and, I don't know, walk a mile. Right. well, what's going to inspire them to walk a mile?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it could be, and I've done this with a few people, and I'm like, well, what makes you enjoy walking? You know, are you trying to walk 1 mile without stopping?
Yeah.
Awesome. Try to walk as far as you can, yeah, without stopping. But if you have to stop, stop. And then what do you like to do when you stop? You know, take your camera and take a cool picture of something that you see, and then walk a little bit further, right? So then all of a sudden you're tricking yourself. Like, I'm taking pictures, but you're walking.
I found that comment very inspiring.
Really?
Yeah,
Huh.
I love that.
And it's like all of a sudden you're doing a walk, but you're doing something else, and you're tricking yourself into doing it because you're enjoying this moment now. And I try to do that with myself and all things. And I've taken, you know, I don't know what made me do it, but I was just like, you know what, I'm getting this age. I don't know how to ride a motorcycle. And like, I'm gonna set a goal for myself to
That's
learn how to ride a motorcycle. And I had to go get a my driver's license done. And you have to do a star ID, right? So,
yeah, you have to have your motorcycle designation on your driver's license. Yeah,
right, exactly.
So you take the test and all that.
Yeah, so I had to get the star ID updated so I could, you know, fly and do all the things. And man, the DMV is like so crazy, and you got to get these appointments. And I was just like, I'm never gonna get an appointment. There's one I made this week. It was like popped up, and it was like, I booked it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's great.
So I went in to get the star ID, and I was like, hey, can I take my motorcycle test? And they're like, yeah, it's, you know, this much. And so I got my motorcycle license.
Nice, but you don't know how to ride.
Well, I mean, I know the concept
I got
of ride. I know all the rules. What I now need to do is get on, you know, a bike and start basically learning and practicing. I've, you know, ridden scooters before and know, you know, the throttle and the clutch and all that. And so, but to get good on a bike is just like taking it slow, practice. And so
when there's some great courses, riding courses that you can take. I know the Harley dealership.
It's like $300.
They're expensive, but they're worth it. I know when I first started riding, my wife, when we first got married, I said, all right, I'm out of my parents' house now. I want to get a bike. And she was like, no. And it was no. Yeah. I just always wanted one as a kid. I just wanted one. I mean, you grow up and you see them on TV, you're like, I want that. But my parents were absolutely, no way are you riding a bike or a motorcycle. And
man, I have no desire to be like zooming and popping wheelies and stuff like that.
I don't care about that. I'm actually a very slow rider. I just enjoy being outside. I enjoy the wind in my face.
Like a grandma.
Yeah.
You know?
We're the same age. But my wife finally said, okay, if you take the safety course, Harley's got one.
Yeah.
Then okay. And I mean, that day, it was the same day. I had the class booked. I was ready to go. I mean, I went, and it was great. I learned how to ride that way, and it was so much fun, and I never regret it. And I've had accidents, a couple, but it's never deterred me because it's just a feeling. It's my moment of zen. You know, if I think you asked me, we were chatting outside. You said, you know, what kind of hobbies do you have? And I thought, I like to ride my bike. I mean, that's what I like to do. And I think it's very similar. I mean, obviously, I'm not getting a lot of exercise, but boy, you go on an all-day ride, you're sore the next day. Yeah. But I'm not pedaling the pedals or anything. But there's you said it. You find that you've ridden a long early morning ride, and there's just a calming effect. It's peaceful. Yeah. And so I'll go on a ride, and I feel that's my way. It's wind therapy. It's just it's a release, and I feel great afterwards. And I can. Now,
is there a place you like to go, or you just kind of hop on and just wherever?
Go. Yeah. Sometimes if I'm going to take a really long ride, and I'm and some of the conditions might look a little sketchy. There's been some roads I've been like, ooh, that was a bad move.
Yeah.
And so I do sometimes scout ahead to get the general area. But typically the adventure is just
explore.
Yeah, that looks like an interesting road. I'm lost now. Great. That's good. I don't mind being lost. But I have had a few times I've been lost, no GPS, no, because I mean, you're out in nowhere. There is no cell reception here. And I've come home and my wife has been, you were supposed to be home, 4 hours ago. And I said, I know, I made it to Mississippi and I don't know where I was. I turned left and when I was supposed to turn right, and those have been kind of funny, but
yeah. So Harley, right? Why is it? You think it's the community? Because man, Harley people are like diehard Harleys.
Yeah, I don't. No, I wouldn't say that because I'm not really deeply entrenched in the biker community or the Harley community. I tend to, more than anything, I ride solo. I don't. I've got some friends that I will ride with from time to time, but it's not a common thing. And I've been in large Harley groups before, like 30 bikes on the road, and you're in that mix. And I know it's for some people, it's not for me. I don't feel comfortable. I don't know the level of skill of the people around me. And you're thinking, all right, you're pretty close to me. We are staggered, but if you don't take that corner right, am I in danger here? I just didn't feel it's not for me. Now, if you know all those people in your group and everybody's a really skilled rider and you feel great, that's fine. But like I said, it's not for me.
Well, man, when you ride in a Peloton with bicycles, there's a huge element.
Oh yeah, you guys have.
Our Wednesday night ride, we're riding as a big group in a Peloton, and
you're not. I mean, you're pretty close together. I mean, you're.
Yeah, we keep a lower pace.
Okay.
And one reason we do that is so the reaction time for new people riding in a group is there, where they can bob and weave and brake and stop pedaling and make the right decision to get out of harm's way. Right. You increase the speed, you got to be a better cyclist. You got to know how to handle the bike. You know how to shift. You know how to dive into a corner better, or lay off the brake the proper way so you don't skid. Anytime you add speed, you're going to add definitely that element of, or a chance of an accident with a group. So yeah, you got
and these are road bikes. Tires are pretty,
Well, on ours, anybody can come because we're going at a slower pace. We have multiple stops.
Okay.
I'd sell a lot of bad jokes. But when you're in like what you see like Tour de France stuff, which is about to come on, man, those suckers are booking,
and they do have accidents and they do have injuries.
Yeah, but they're so well tuned into their bike and the formation. They'll be riding right alongside people going 28 miles an hour, and they can have just a normal conversation and be touching each other and be really good. The times that you see some big crashes on that is usually at the fault of either bad roadways, bad maybe course design, where they're trying to funnel hundreds of cyclists
into a small little wedge,
and they're all jockeying for position to
well,
get
in
ahead.
bikes, motorcycles and road bikes, any of those, it's different. Turning on, when you get to a certain speed, turning on a two-wheeled vehicle is not the same as a four-wheeled vehicle. I mean, it's
absolutely
very, very different. And so that's where I get very sketchy about people that are not maybe comfortable or new to riding.
And that's when I was taking the motorcycle license and reading all the stuff, one of the things that I was like, oh, this is just like especially mountain biking, is they were talking about going into a turn and how do you hold yourself and what do you do, and it's you're basically looking to where you want to go, but your body stays in the same position. You look with your eyes and your head into the turn. And mountain biking, when you go and dive into a sharp turn, you're not turning with your body into it. You're looking at where you want to go, and your body follows suit with it. And I was just like, oh man, that's very similar.
Oh yeah, you always look into the turn. Yeah, the counter steering aspect of it is really interesting too.
That's a little bit different on motorcycles versus
because it usually doesn't happen until you are maybe over 30 miles an hour, and you're not going to get a bike necessarily up there, but you get to that point where you are now turning in the opposite direction of where you're going. And so it takes, I mean, when I was a new rider, that was, it took me a while to kind of get that. And I know for some people it comes as second nature, but for me, I took a while. So that means that there's other people out there that they had to get comfortable with that.
With a lot of cycling, road specific and mountain too, but mountain bike is a little bit different because you're at sometimes going slower speeds and you gotta turn the handlebar. But road cycling, to really turn, you're really just pointing with the handlebars. You're turning with your center of gravity. You're turning with your hips. You're shifting your hips to really dive into a turn. If you're going fast, now if you're going real slow and you got a 90 degree, you're turning the handlebar. But less counter steering on bicycles than the motorcycles for sure.
Unless you're really going fast.
Well, yeah, but that's man. I think the fastest I've been on a bicycle is there's a hill down in Grant, and it goes down into Cathedral Caverns.
Oh yeah.
Well, that hill's fun, but you got to be careful. I think I've hit like 60 miles an hour.
Whoa.
And I'm like really hugging like the whole bike.
Yeah.
You hit one little pebble the wrong way, you're going down.
Yeah.
So I think I've hit either, it was like 55, 60, and I was just like, yeah, I don't want to do this too often. Yeah. It was fun. Well, and then it wasn't.
I'll tell you the one accident, real accident, serious accident that I had, and it was with my first bike, which was a Kawasaki Vulcan, and I came around a corner on a road that I rode every single day. I mean, it was and some road construction had taken place. And of course, it also had rained like an hour or so earlier. And so the road construction, or the construction vehicle, had torn up some of the asphalt, left a nice little patch for water to fill up for the thing. And I was coming around and I saw it. I saw the patch there, and I was committed to the turn at that point, and I was like, it split second hit that water, and that bike just shimmied right on out, and I rolled for about 30 feet, took out a street sign with the bike, and called my wife, and I was just road rash everywhere, and I was just like, oh my goodness, this isn't going to go well. But I repaired that bike. I rebuilt it. Luckily, the frame was okay. And 3 months later, I was back on it again, and it was fine.
Going back to the test, I think they were like it was high number 70% of all like motorcycle accidents happen like within like a mile of your house.
And it's the concept that you become less concerned, because you drive those roads all the time, right? It's very familiar. Familiar is what's going to get you killed. You got to always be aware of people around you. You always have to be aware that road condition that you went down is different, and so it's just a different way of thinking about it.
Do you think that accident happened because you were looking at the puddle? Or
I saw it as I was coming around. That's a tight off ramp. And so I saw it, but there was very little. By the time I saw it, when it came around, and it was hard to see too, because like I said, it was filled with water. It was matching the asphalt kind of look, but I saw the glimmer, and there was no reaction. It's happened so fast. But I was looking into the turn because I was still fairly fresh. And that was kind of thank goodness I didn't have really lasting damage of any kind, but that was the lesson for me that unfortunately that I had to go through to be able to go, all right, you can't treat everything like it's exactly the same every time.
When I was learning how to mountain bike years and years ago, the guy was kind of helping me, and this is how actually I got fairly decent. We rode at night.
Mm.
We got lights on the helmet and handlebars. We were riding at night.
Yeah.
And his thing was like, you will ride in the direction of whatever you're looking at.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So if you stare at a big rock, guess what? You're going to roll over that big rock.
You're going to run to it, yeah.
But if you see that big rock, but keep looking past it onto the trail that you want to be, you're going to ride on that trail and completely avoid the rock. And I was always nervous. And he goes, all right, we're riding at night. And I was like, dude, I can't even ride during the day. You want me to ride at night? He goes, trust me. So we got handlebar lights and helmet light. And we rode it. Now, we were riding slower, obviously. Mm-hmm. I didn't make any mistakes. And it was because the light was shined on the trail, and I could only see. It was like I had blinders on.
You were forced to look in the direction you need to. Yeah.
Because we mounted the lights far enough to look at the trail of what I needed to look at. And so the lights were always wherever I was going. And I was following somebody, so I was just kind of following where he's going. But I looked at, and the next day during daylight on the trails I went, and there's a cliff here, there's a cliff there. And those were the things that were freaking me out. Yeah. But I didn't see them because, one, it was dark, but two, the light was only shining on the trail.
Yeah,
so
that's great. What a teaching method.
And I always tell people, like, whatever you're focused on is what you're going to drive yourself toward. So you're thinking negative thoughts.
Yeah.
You're going to always be going into whatever thing you're going to do with a negative mindset. But if you're focused on something and you're like, hey, I can achieve this, I can do that, you're going to attack something with a lot more positivity to it.
Man, that's you. All right, I'm inspired again.
Oh, yeah?
Because those thoughts are the same, right? We make fitness goals.
Yeah.
And it's easy to make a fitness goal, right? I mean, you go, okay, whatever it is, I want to lift 200 pounds over my head in a clean and jerk, whatever. And so you got to keep your eye on that goal. And a lot of times we'll make some fairly frivolous goals, but we're not keeping our eye on them, and we're not planning how to get there. And so a lot of times we're just like, I didn't make that goal, and you erase it, you put a different one on the board. And so I think people really trying to get them to focus on what was your fitness goal? Why did you come to begin with? Because people will get off track.
Yeah.
They will get demotivated or frustrated. And so re-honing it back into why were you here to begin with? You wanted to lose 20 pounds. Brandon, have you lost the 20 pounds? How much have you lost? 5 pounds. Okay. We got 15 to go. Let's see what we got to do to get there. What's not working, and re-hone in on that. That's a tough part of the job. And I try to get to know as many people. I know everybody in the gym, but I try to understand what they're trying to achieve. And that's something that gets me excited. Yeah. And I love the comment. I'm going to take that with me about inspiration, because I want to be there every step of the way. Yeah. Because there's all those incremental achievements, the high fives, that you get to give somebody when they said, I didn't think I could do that. And that actually gets me really jazzed up when I can say, look what you could do. I hate the word can't. Yeah. Everybody in the gym will tell you that you don't say it. It's a dirty word to me.
That's awesome.
Somebody will say, I can't do that. And I said, ooh, we don't use that word. You the only way I'll let you use the word can't is if it's followed by yet. You can say, I can't do that yet. Yeah. But I'm not going to let you just say, I can't do something. And so that's something that.
So and my daughter's helping out with this podcast, and you're doing an awesome job, Mia, by the way. I appreciate you.
Doing great.
But I got a video of her riding a bicycle for the first time, right?
Uh-oh. Do you want him to show this?
No, we're not gonna show that. But it's the cutest thing, because she learns how to ride. She gets pushed off and she's riding on her own, and she's screaming, I'm doing it. And I love when that person, and I get to see this opportunity a lot with some of the clients I get to work with, and they get that spark again of, oh, I can do this, and so me telling you the story actually leads me to this question that I always ask all of my guests. So here it comes. Do you recall when you first learned how to ride a bicycle? What was that? What was that, and what was that experience like?
You know, I bet you've heard this many, many times before, but I remember this ridiculous bike. I couldn't tell you the brand or type or whatever. I remember the enormous banana seat that was on this bike, you know, and the weird handlebars on it and the training wheels. And so and training wheels are so funny. As a kid, I'm trying to remember what age I was. I just have the memory of getting on this thing, and I remember taking the training wheels off, or having my parents take them off. But I would clunk around on the training wheels because you know you're
teetering.
You're teetering. Yeah, it's
hate training wheels. They
you bob around and so finally I was like, these training wheels. But I don't know how I articulated. I'm sure I didn't. I was like, I don't want to do the training wheels anymore. But the training wheels came off, and I just fell. You know, you fall, and then all of a sudden, you are riding for a little bit.
Yeah.
Like you find the balance, you know, and I remember the feeling of getting that right.
Yeah.
And I remember being down the sidewalk, and I struggle with where I was, other than I remember the sidewalk and the bike wasn't falling over anymore. And, but I remember that bike because I had it for a long time. It just stayed in our garage. I'd long past ever riding it, you know, it was dusty. And, but the main feature on that bike that I remember, all my friends had cool bikes. I had that banana seat, and it was ridiculous. Does anybody ride on a banana seat anymore?
Not really. They've kind of graduated on the design, but coincidentally, that was the first bike wreck I had was on a banana seat bike. Yeah, and it kind of had those little handlebars that came up.
Yeah, that's it. The handlebars were weird.
Yeah, and I pretended it was a motorcycle.
Yeah, me too.
And I was pretending that there was a throttle.
Yep. And the little plastic thing would rotate.
Yeah. And guess what? I was doing that, and the grip came off. I lost balance, and that was my first bike wreck.
Nice.
First stitches I ever got was on my elbow right there. So I know exactly. We got too many similarities, I guess, probably with age. So, you know, when the reason I asked that question is people like, and they recall, like most people, when they first learn how to ride a bike, what they associate that with is the feeling of, I can do anything.
Yeah.
Right. That's in fact, for me, when I first learned how to, I remember it vividly. And I think I learned how to ride a bike in one day, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. I remember it happened quick.
Yeah. But the feeling that I had the very next day when I was riding, I was just like, I can do anything. I can go anywhere.
I can hop that hill.
Right. And that's the inspiration that I love to try to find in people. Is just like, you can do this.
Well, and I get the joy of that on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And it's something that feeds me as far as my job satisfaction. So let me back us up just a hair. So we were talking about I was an architect for 21 years, partner in the firm, all that. But I started coaching in the mornings, sometimes in the evenings after work, and continued to do that for a little while. And my wife and I were talking a lot about it, and I want to be real clear here. I have no. I got accused a lot of having a midlife crisis when I bought the gym. It was like, oh, you're a professional, you know, you're suit and tie, and you're an architect. Everybody talks. It's like a dream job,
right?
And
I mean, that was George Costanza's.
It was the architect, right?
Yeah,
I mean, great at cocktail parties. I mean, if they knew exactly what architects do, architects laugh at that whole scenario. Right. But I was very happy at my job. I wasn't like deeply distressed. I knew what I was doing. I wasn't in a midlife crisis. It was very methodical. But I was coaching, and the one-on-one experiences with people that were making achievements. And I don't take credit for any of those achievements. If somebody like successfully did something, if I can help cue them or help them move, they just needed a nudge to get there. They had it in them to begin with. But the passion at seeing all of that happen lit a fire in me that I just can't describe.
It's kind of your fuel.
Yeah. And so I started talking with my partner, Sarah, about maybe we could open a gym. And I really wanted to partner with somebody. She's got, 30, 35 years of gym experiences and very business savvy in that realm. And I was business savvy in an architectural realm. They're different. I thought there would be more that translated over, but owning my own business that way was completely different. And the psychology of all the people I'm dealing with, sometimes the trauma that people are coming in with, there's a lot, it was a different experience. And so, I met with my partners at the firm one day after long talks with my wife. And I said, I'm buying my CrossFit gym. And they said their jaws just hit the floor, and rightly so. I mean, I wouldn't have expected any different. And ended up moving over to running the gym. The previous owner and manager that was running CrossFit Empire South, Coach Katie, she moved and opened up CrossFit Hazel Green. It's a little closer to the home that she's from, and so just by happenstance, mine became more available, and it was like it was supposed to be. So that was great.
And but that goes into, we talked about people doing things fitness wise that makes them uncomfortable, right? And the hard thing to do. That's a huge leap. That you're going to, hey, I'm working in a pretty substantial architecture firm, and now I'm just like, now I'm a CrossFit gym owner.
I wouldn't have done it without my wife.
Yeah.
Like my personality type is to be very safe.
Gotcha.
And so, but
you did something uncomfortable. You pushed yourself into a thing that isn't necessarily guaranteed or easy, and you got to work really hard for it, and you still do.
And that's the great thing. And I have no regrets of it whatsoever. Having my wife give me the nudge, being my inspiration, right? Yeah. I mean, you can do this. You can do this.
Does she come and do some workouts?
Oh yeah, okay. She coaches over at the gym as well.
Okay.
So, and so having that, that's great. I mean, I owe it to her. I love her so much. She gave me that push that I needed to, and we do it all the time too. When it comes to we stayed in our starter home for 13 years. We needed to upgrade, but I would have lived there probably today. We'd probably still be there if she didn't basically say, we've got to move now. Cause I just get very stationary with the status quo.
Yeah.
So I really lean on her to tell me it's time. We gotta fix this.
Hey Mia, let's go to some movies because this is kind of fun. So we got like 3 different panels here for you kids watching at home. If you're listening, then you don't get to see anything. But let's hit that audio on that first one, Mia. So this is you. What kind of, is that a snatch thing?
That's a hang snatch.
Hang snatch.
Power snatch, if you want to.
Okay. And I'd imagine that's a lot about form, right?
Yeah, that's going to be one of our more complicated movements. Not as complicated as it can get. But it is an Olympic lift, so we break those down when we're doing them in a class. We're going to go step by step and make sure everybody's kind of moving just the way we need them to.
And then do the audio in the middle one, Mia. I like this one right here.
This is a great video.
I'm going to be quiet for a little bit so we can watch this loop.
And go. Nice high knees. Get that bite on that foot. Oh, there you go. Come on. There you go.
And what I recall in the audio on that, you're just given some instruction of what to do with the feet and how to pull up, and then the smile at the end is awesome.
It's awesome, and that is exactly what I'm talking about. So. Jennifer probably would be mortified that that we're looking at it, but she doubted that she could do a rope climb.
Oh, really?
And I knew she was ready. I was seeing the technique that she's getting the bite on the foot, so it's not just an upper body. You're not doing like a legless rope climb and having to fully pull yourself up.
She's ready for the zombie apocalypse,
she's doing great. Yeah. You can climb on top of the building, right?
Yeah, exactly. Get away from them zombies and and they won't beat you.
Oh, but this is where you gotta kind of push through. You gotta recognize as a coach that okay, this person's ready. We gotta push this, because we're the biggest liars to ourselves. If you think about it, we're constantly, and not everybody is this way. I mean, but a lot of people are going to be, I can't do that. I can't. It's very negative. We're constantly, I'm in a bad headspace. I don't think I can do that. I can't do that weight.
Yeah.
I'm never going to lose this weight. Anything, whatever it is. And so I try to push past that, because that's why I don't like the word can't. If you start saying I can't do whatever, of course you won't. You're not even trying. At that point, you've already given up. You're not making you're not running the race. And so I love that video, because it's that proud moment of getting the first bike ride, right? I mean, yes, you can.
Yeah.
And then when you can start showing people that yes, you can, then you start to see really great progress. You start to see people understand that they can do it.
I love it when people set a really lofty goal, and I'm like, well, I'm not sure they're going to make that. And then they do it, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
They did something that they had to really push that. And I see that with my kids a lot. They'll do something, and they're like, no idea you could do that.
Yeah.
And you set a really lofty goal and you hit it. I'm impressed. So, but I also love the fact that they didn't make it with anybody if they set a lofty goal and they missed it. And I was like, that's awesome. I'm like, why? It's like, you set a really high bar. You failed a lot higher than most people attempt. So
yeah, that's true.
But I don't do that with weights, because I don't want to pull anything or break anything.
No. I remember safety first.
Yeah, safety first.
So there's an order of things. Like this is something that you're definitely going to get. Coaches are going to understand this, just from CrossFit training and so on. Safety is always the number one thing. And so if I see somebody that's never lifted more than 100 pounds and they turn around and they're putting 225 pounds on their bar, and okay, unrealistically, that's not going to happen. Yeah. And you run the risk of I'm pulling up on a bar and I'm not doing it well. So that's just silly. But the order is, safety first, then the coach is going to start focusing in on technique. All right. And that goes hand in hand with the safety. I mean, you want to do good technique, but once you get past safety, you can start refining technique. So, all right, we're doing an Olympic lift here. It's all about the efficiency of moving that bar from the ground to overhead. How can we do that efficiently? So I'm going to make some adjustments on your body position in order to help you get that better. And then I'm going to say, all right, you're lifting that well. Let's put another 10 pounds on this and let's see what we can do. And let's see if technique breaks down. And then what happens, inevitably, the more weight you put on there, technique starts to deteriorate. And then you got to back it up. Yep. Let's work on that technique again, incrementally go up. And so it's a very methodical process. What you have to be careful of is things like deadlifts is a enormously good workout, a deadlift. But people will be afraid of them because they can hurt their back, and you can hurt your back on a deadlift. And it's one of those that you lift a lot of weight. Like you can deadlift typically a lot of weight, and so things go wrong. But learning how to properly pick up a heavy barbell off the ground is no different than picking up that heavy box when you're moving or whatever, and you're trying to pick it up off the ground and put it on a truck or whatever. The deadlift's a very functional movement. And so you got to pay attention to everything that's going on. Are their hips rising too fast? Are they starting to round their back? Is there something? Are they coming up on their toes weirdly? Are they out of position with what they're lifting? That's where people can almost overload the bar too fast, too quick. Yeah. And you coaches have got to be able to say, whoa, let's slow it down here. How about we put 25 pounds on instead of 150 pounds on this next lift, and slow down. So people just get excited, overly excited sometimes about lifting that heavy weight. But I'm with you. Slow it down. I mean, at the end of the day, what we're doing, the fitness journey is lifelong. Yeah. Right. And so one workout is not worth throwing the rest of it away.
I was doing a endurance event a long time ago, and I hadn't been running, and it was going to require a lot of running. And I was like, man, I hate running. Got to get back into it. So I downloaded this, had this watch that could listen to podcasts, or I started listening to workouts and somebody walking me through like a run. And it was more like concepts of running and stuff like that. And it was just something to listen to, take my mind off an activity that I really didn't enjoy. But it stuck out with me, and it was like a Nike running thing. The coach on there goes, okay, you're running, great, slow down. He goes, you're running too fast. Slow down.
Did the watch know what speed you were going at? Okay.
No, it was almost like I was listening to a podcast.
Yeah.
But it was, I think I was able to like, hey, I'm going to go on a 20-minute run, and then it talked during that 20 minutes. Right. But I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so wise. It was just like, you're running too fast. Slow down. Like, seriously, go slower. And it was almost like I want you to be walking almost is what it was. It's like, you haven't run in forever. You're running too fast. Slow down. You don't need to go far.
That's great.
You're gonna save your next run that's longer and faster a little bit later on your third or fourth run. Okay.
That's great.
Slow down. And so, sometimes, and even me going to doing the workout at 5 a.m., I'm like, I need to do some push-ups the night before, and
you've got to get fit before you can come and do
fit.
That's so silly.
and really, what we need to be doing is, if we sign up for a class and go to it, we need to know that, hey, it's okay to not do heavy weights.
Yeah, start out slow. I tell people that all the time. You need to start out slow. Even people that have a long history of CrossFit, but they haven't been doing it for 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever. They're just getting back into it. They're the hardest ones, because they're remembering all the things that they could do.
That hurts me.
And so the slowdown is serious. You are going to ease back into things. We're going to work out Monday, Wednesday, Friday this week, and I want you to cut the weights back, and I want you to go into it a little slower. And then we're going to build it up, make sure you're getting back in. And then maybe in 2 weeks, let's take another look. Maybe in a month we add a fourth day. Maybe it's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. And the journey is going to be great. But you got to get past that ego of, I remember when I could.
Yeah.
And then
that's hard for somebody. Like, there's times I hop on the bike and I remember this route.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember taking it. And it's like, man, I'm a lot slower than I was 5 years ago, 10 years ago.
I feel that now.
Yeah.
I remember I remember when I could move a little faster, move, just, and you mentioned recovery earlier. It's like recovery takes longer the older you get. Like I need my sleep.
Yeah. Do you take any like supplements or vitamins or anything?
Creatine more than anything.
I've been taking that. I started taking that about a year ago. I've been on about a yearish.
Yeah. But I try to, I don't take a lot of supplements. I'm not a big supplement kind of guy.
I like to get all the stuff from the foods that I eat.
Yeah, and I'm bragging on my wife. I've got just a wonderful wife. She loves to cook, and she's very clean. And she's a meal prepper. I mean, she likes to prep our meals and get everything. And
that's what I stink at right there.
Oh, it's we had a great time on Sunday night last. We usually meal prep on Sunday. She usually. I don't want to take claim of the process, because she's the one that's like cooking all that chicken and all that stuff. But she just gets it down. But on Sunday, we had all of the little meal prep containers laid out, and she was scooping a little rice. I was putting some veggies on. She was throwing chicken on top, and so I get that for my meals for the week.
Yeah, go to, I think it's picture 2.
Yeah, there you go. So that's a typical meal for me, and you can see that actually may have been something similar from this week, but she knows that my macros are a little different than hers. She cuts back a little more on the carbs, I need a little bit more on the carbs, but she does such a great job. And so it keeps, it's just clean foods.
Yeah.
People ask me a lot, and from nutrition standpoint, everybody's different. Our metabolisms are different. We process things differently. Some people can do more carbs and some people can do less, but I can tell you most of the time people aren't doing enough protein.
Yeah.
And they're way overdoing carbohydrates, and I mean they're just pounding them in. I mean, so the pastas and everything. And
fuel is so huge on the bicycle too, and I think it's so funny. I'll see people do a ride and they'll get done with it and whip out a bag of gummy bears.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, man, that's so bad.
Yeah.
I enjoy, sometimes I'll do a long ride and I'll go to a place where they serve some just real food, whatever. And I'm not eating, snack food. That's what a lot of cyclists do because they just need that immediate carb. But sometimes they'll do a slow, long ride and then just go to that place that's got a real nice hamburger.
Yeah.
And just suck that down. And it's not an unhealthy hamburger. I load it up and I avoid certain things on it, but that's when I feel like I'm riding the best and feel the strongest is when I eat real substance. So food is so crucial.
There's so many things. I went to the store the other day. I was just looking for some kind of protein bar. I was just in one of these supermarkets.
Yeah.
And I started looking, and some of them, they sound great, right? Super healthy.
Yeah.
Like you pull one off the shelf and you're like, oh, it's like this clean white box and everything looks good. And it's called 5-ingredient protein or whatever, something. And I flip it over and I'm like, 5 ingredients. There's 37 ingredients on this thing, and
half of them you can't even pronounce.
Oils and everything else are right at the top of the list, and you're going, oh, okay, this is a very highly processed, highly just not a good for you food, and that's something that we talk a lot about nutrition, but I don't think we do it enough. I think most gyms, we're not talking about nutrition, and yet nutrition, you just can't outrun about bad diet. You're just not going to be able to do it. And that's like the bottom of this pyramid, right? Where nutrition is the base that gives you everything you can do, whether you're riding a bike or whether you're doing a CrossFit workout. If you're not eating right, you're going to get to a point, your metabolism, you may have a great metabolism and you're fine when you're younger, but after a while starts to slow down and you can't catch up to that.
I don't drink any soda.
Yeah, me either.
I mean, I'll do it occasionally.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. Yeah.
But yeah, I drink majority water, coffee. I still drink.
Yeah, I do. I drink a little milk, but I'm about, we do a lot of sparkling water.
Yeah, I do that too. I like that
and I do that, because that's how I got off of drinking soda.
That's pretty much me too. Yeah.
And you eliminate all the sugars that you get. It's so wasted.
Mia you and I were in the grocery store the other day. I was teaching her, hey, best way to shop in a grocery store, shop the perimeter.
Yeah, always
avoid everything.
But then you have to be careful now too, because even on the perimeter, like I said, I'm a big believer in first thing you got to do is clean up your food. And there's even on the outside perimeter, they're spraying a lot of stuff on preservatives on things, making your meat stay looking red so it looks good. And some of the stuff that they put on vegetables, it's unavoidable, but it's still chemicals that we're introducing into foods.
I just signed up one of my customers. She brings us fresh farm eggs. I just signed up for a bunch of eggs.
They taste so good, right?
Yeah,
right
they
out
do.
of the farm.
But you don't have to refrigerate them.
Yeah.
And then they're also I think these are farm chicken eggs, so they're on they're running around doing all the stuff, so
it's great.
They're not cooped up in a little pen, so
that free range.
Like true free range. Like
we've got some friends that we used to buy a lot of eggs from, and it was great, and they just taste different. They're just good. But if you can clean up your diet, then we can start honing in on macros, how what's right for you. that's going to be, and what are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to
Six pack? I want a six pack. How do you get a
There you
six
go.
pack?
I'll tell you. But you got to lose that body fat. Usually the squishy stuff is caused by a lot of extra carbohydrates that you're getting into your diet. And but looking at that, and then you got to track it, and you know you got to see, are you really meeting those macros? Because if you spend a week or so, you don't have to do it forever. Spend a week or so really gauging what you're putting into your body. It's an eye opener. A lot of people are shocked because
they say the six pack is really created in the kitchen.
It is. Yeah. And so people start to get squishy when you're eating a lot of carbohydrates, and I'm certainly guilty of it too. You just get into that habit, and it starts, and that bad habits, it's a habit. So you got to break. You have to diligently break those habits and get back into the game and eat right and all of those things. So yeah, I love the fact my wife does such a great job meal prepping, and it makes I think I would be a bad billboard for my business if it wasn't for the fact that my wife helps to keep me
that's
me going.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, what's next for you? So we got renovation going on, and then you're kind of steadily growing. How's membership and stuff like that? Are you excited about it?
So I'm very, very excited. So we're going to be moving CrossFit.
I saw a big old pile of gravel. Is that you guys over there?
Yeah, they're doing new restrooms, showers, all that stuff in the new space. So CrossFit's moving up into the front of the building, which is a much larger space for us. And so that'll give us a lot of room to spread out, a lot of room to grow. The back space that we're in right now, we're going to be introducing spin classes and some HIIT programming.
Awesome.
So that's going to cater to folks that maybe they don't want to move around a barbell. But they want to still get a good strength and cardio workout in. So those HIIT programs are going to be to kind of cater more to that clientele, but still get fantastic fitness workouts in.
Okay.
So we're it's awesome. I mean, we want to try and reach as many people as we can. And so I think this is going to be a great place for South Huntsville.
Yeah. It's in Hayes, is it Hazeland Farm?
Yeah.
Hazeland Farm there. They're sprouting up. What about goals? You got any fun things coming up any summer plans?
Other than our Battle of the Boxes event, there's a lot of stuff that's always going on, it seems like. But
any motorcycle rides
fun stuff. Yes.
Yeah, fun stuff. It didn't have to all be.
Yes, I have actually. Side note, I get really jazzed about riding when I start watching the Long Way Round, Long Way Home. Have you ever heard of these?
Yeah.
So on Apple TV.
Yeah.
So Ewan McGregor and
I watched the first one.
Charlie
Yeah,
Borman. Oh man. So they start going on their adventures, and every single time and they just started the Long Way Home, which is their fourth series, and I've watched them. They're so great. But they start going on these adventures, and I just start dreaming. I'm like, okay, I've got to go somewhere, and so I'm probably going to plan a little trip and do a little adventure of my own.
Awesome.
So I'm not going around the world on my motorcycle, but
yet.
Isn't
that the thing?
You're right. Yet.
You can't say you can't.
But I'm going to go somewhere I've never been before. I don't know what that is, but I'm going to go somewhere I've never been.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
and you're going to try to do that on the
on my Road King. Yeah.
Road King. I couldn't remember.
Yep.
How long have you had the Road King?
That's a good question. 4 or 5 years. 4 years. I might be wrong about that.
Do you work on it? Do you modify it?
I've done some upgrades to it when I first bought it, because I just I wanted a little more power out of it, and some things I could do there. The Fat Boy I did a lot of work on. That's why I've had such a hard time selling it, because it was my first Harley, so I tinkered with it and I cosmetically and everything else. It looks great. It's a fun little bike. And so I'm like, I got to sell it though. I'm not riding it.
My brother is a big rider, and he rides, I think he rides a Fat Boy.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he's upgraded or not. I know his wife rides on the back sometimes, so I'm not sure if he upgraded to something else to support them or not. But yeah, He leads some rides now and then. So.
Well, let me know when you finally buy the bike now that you've got your license.
Yeah, what I really want to do or need to do is figure out the best plan of like I just need to take a safety course, but also just like get out and practice and ride. But I've got to have I got to find
big parking lots, right?
Big parking lots. Yep. I need to like. Is there a place to rent where you could like rent one and
rent a bike? Yeah, you can. I mean, any of the dealers usually have some kind of rental policy or something like
really?
that. Yeah, usually you can just check with them. But
because I'm the type of person who just like I need to like be in a parking lot or someplace and just like go slow and learn it. And like I want it to be a muscle memory.
Yeah, and it does. Yeah, I mean, I still think about like just.
It's timing. It's timing. Like when I first learned how to drive a standard, right? And kids these days, they don't know anything.
They don't know what a standard is.
But driving a standard's all about timing.
Yeah.
It's like learning
how. Well, that's what you're doing. I mean, bikes are standards, right? Yeah. I mean, you're switching gears, pushing in the clutch, all that stuff. So. But what's great about a bike is you're using your feet, you're using your hands.
Yeah, it's full body, everything. Yeah, you got to be locked in, paying attention.
And it does become second nature after a while. You don't think about it. You're just one with the bike, if that sounds kind of cliche. But
well, I started with my license, so I can
step one,
got a license, check. So
well, that's awesome. Well, man, I'm great.
I appreciate you. You have I learned so much more about you, and I'm glad you're a neighbor. It's really fun to see everybody working out, and that place that place has been almost an eyesore, and so it's nice to see. Like I can't wait to see how it starts looking out and shaping up. And it's a great area to be in because of man, just like right across the way is a nice greenway.
Yep.
And everything.
The location is awesome. You're absolutely right about the building. I'm so excited to rejuvenate that building, and I'm glad that the owner's working with us on that. So make it a great space.
Well, I'm glad we're neighbors.
Yeah,
we can encourage each other to hit some fitness goals and go on some adventures together.
I guess I'm going to have to, since you tried out the gym, I'm going to have to come do a bike.
Yeah. So our Wednesday night ride, like anybody can do it.
Awesome.
Pretty much anybody can do it. You got to have a bike. Got to have a helmet.
Okay.
Got to have lights.
Okay.
Hydration. I've got 3 rules. Guess what rule number 1 is?
Safety.
Yep. Be safe.
Yep.
Rule number 2, have fun.
Okay.
And see, if you're safe and you have fun, you'll be able to come back next week and do the same thing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And then rule number 3 is learn something new.
Yeah, that's it. I love it.
And I've learned a lot from you today. A lot about CrossFit, a lot about
awesome
motivation. Is a word we hate. Yeah. a lot about nutrition and other things. So and about you, I'm really kind of inspired that you're like, nice cushion job, and you're like, I love this fitness thing.
Well, that's awesome.
That's great. And most people don't take chances like that. So
leap of faith. Here we go.
Yeah, I might have to pick your brain on some other ways that you've from a business standpoint focused in on that. So
well, you know where to find me.
Yeah, right next
Brandon,
door.
This has been great.
Appreciate you.
Awesome. All right.
And Mia, sign us out here. Throw up that logo. Or the other one. There you go. Playing the music out. Let it run. Mia, you're awesome.